Hey, this is David for Big Bits, and today, and I just noticed the title is wrong, but today uh, is the 27th, and we have a lot to go over here. Let me correct the title real quick. My apologies. So, for those of you watching the live stream, you'll notice that the title was wrong. Anyways, I wanted to catch everyone up. It's been a while since I've got to talk to everyone. One thing I want all of you all to know is that I keep up to date on social media, and one of the things that I'm pretty proud of was October 25th. I made sure to state that I was pretty sure that Bitcoin was going to push upwards soon versus the US dollar, and that was because a lot of the altcoin charts looked really good versus the US dollar, but they looked really bad versus Bitcoin. So the way they could have increased their USD value and kind of went sideways or even bear somewhat against Bitcoin was be if Bitcoin were to jump up in price significantly. And I mean, obviously it exceeded my expectations. I don't think anyone expected what happened. But let's go and take a look at really the chart over the last few days. Now, the red line here, that was not my prediction. That was just me highlighting the potential crossover there. And that happened, so I can take that off the chart, making sure you all can see this here. But really impressive stuff. Price rose, I think they said 40 something percent, all the way up to $10,540 on the 26th. So it had a lot of momentum and it continued up. And right now we're just kind of getting an idea of what's going on. Now, weekly, this thing looks really good. See, it closed above this kind of falling wedge that it had made, and a lot of the momentum plays are actually swinging it more bullish. If it's hard to imagine on the weekly scale that it would be, and our forecasting was just updated as well. Let me actually remove the strategy version of that indicator and add in the actual indicator. Because the strategy doesn't quite load on the newest candle it waits till it completes. So let's see. Yeah, we got our 50 over 100 week moving average cross predicted now, and that is going to be on the first week of December. So I've kind of been saying that. If you follow me on social media, I've been saying that for a few weeks now. That regardless of the price action, it looks like the 50 week is going to cross over the 100 week the first week of December, which a lot of times this is a lagging indicator, these crossovers like this on moving averages, but that is a very major crossover that could get some media coverage. That's like if the MACD on the monthly were to go green. That doesn't happen very often from changing from a bear cycle to a bull cycle. So that might be something you see, and then it might spark some more interest in people buying Bitcoin and getting it in the news and such. All right, so what am I looking at really? I highlighted this last week, but this was before the price even jumped up. But the momentum was slowing down on the MACD on the weekly chart, and it's started coming back up quite significantly already. The smooth RSI with the huge jump in the RSI jumped over the smooth RSI, which that's kind of like these changes on the MACD. It's usually a sign of a signal or a trend change versus the signal here. You can see it through a buy on the fact that the smooth RSI changed directions upward. I know it looks kind of flat here, but it did start going up, and then it also well, yeah, the RSI was above it, so that's why the green histogram is there. So you got both things fairly bullish, and it both occurred in neutral territory. So you can see the last time this got a double signal was to short all the way back here, and now it's telling you to buy here. So pretty interesting on the weekly scale. If it works out how it did before, there was a long trend of weekly gains here for the most part. A few red candles in there, but definitely looking really good. And the momentum on the stochastic RSI is coming up. Usually once it comes up through here, it continues to go all the way up. I know in the past there's a lot of cases where it doesn't, so just keep that in mind. But if things work out and price continues to go up this week, it'll be on pace to cross over on the MACD somewhere around here. And if that's the case, you can only imagine. I mean, if it crosses over here, it's either going to have to stall out at like 20,000 to be able to keep it from going to higher levels, or it's really going to break something crazy. Really looking forward to a lot of good stuff next year. I mean, the landscape for the charts is looking really great. Now let's go back to the daily chart. Now, if you're looking where you can get in here, like I said, I'm no financial advisor, but what I'm kind of targeting is another retest on the daily of the 200. And right now we're testing the 100. And we've already broken above it, but price never closed above it. So I'm expecting eventually that we're going to come back down and test the 200, and I'm kind of thinking this might not happen until we get to the intersection of the 200 and the falling wedge, just because I don't think it's going to fall back into that wedge. And it might test that wedge for a few days, bounce up, then come back down and test the 200, something like that. But I'm not convinced we're going to blast straight through up to like 12,000 just yet. But the end of the year, very possible we could be up there or even much higher. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at some other charts while we're here. Let's look at Ethereum and Bitcoin. All right, it's doing pretty bad on the daily the last couple days. Took a huge hit, but you'll notice it's been quite low on the stochastic RSI for a while. We'll have to take a look on the MACD over the next few days. If you're trying to catch a bottom, when you're looking at the MACD, you want to watch this kind of the divergence between these two. We want to see that decrease, and we want to see the momentum come back, and those two get closer. And that's not going to happen until we see some positive action here. So just keep an eye out for your stochastic RSI. If it starts coming back up, it's been very low for quite a while. It's a very good chance that if it does come back up, it can go back up all the way into the overbought territory, which would mean probably a lot of green candles, or at least one big one. So not looking very good versus Bitcoin, but let's look at it versus the USD. All right, somewhat similar here, and it's not looking too great. It's got some resistance to overcome, but let's look at it on the weekly, and this is where I'm saying some of these coins look pretty good on the weekly. So Ethereum versus the US dollar is hovering right on this 50 weekly as support now, and its stochastic RSI is going up. The MACD looks like it might want to cross over. We just got a double buy last week, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm hoping that it can test this 100 week, which would be around $300 something, and it looks like the 100 week is starting to drag down quite a bit, which could lead to a crossover in it. So just seeing this versus the Bitcoin chart earlier, it makes you think that the weekly crossover, the 5100 crossover on Bitcoin, will happen in the first week of December, and it looks like early in January. I bet, I think that the alt markets will catch up and they will cross over. So you might still have some time to accumulate, but the prices may not be as good as they were, because I do think we probably come up and test that 100 again, but we'll see. It's looking pretty good right now, though. Although, honestly, some of these things are pretty neutral. Like RSI is very neutral, MACD is neutral, but it's been pretty bearish with the red histogram. Really, the thing it's got going for it best right now is the stochastic RSI and the 50-week support. Take a look at just a couple more altcoins. And actually, I like to look at those versus Bitcoin. Look at basic attention token. On the weekly chart, it's still looking bullish. It's coming back down, stochastic RSI, because they had a red candle. It rejected pretty hard, and if you would have taken a notice on my accounts, I posted it was probably going to test the 200-day, and it did. It got rejected, which is exactly what I thought. I have a feeling we'll come down to the 50 and check that as support, and if that doesn't hold, then you're going to have to hope the 100 does. Otherwise, it'll be accumulating a while, probably until the alt markets decide to come around. But overall, not that bad. The weekly doesn't look that bad. So if it does go down, I'm hoping it's just for a short time to test on these supports. All right, let's take a look at another couple more. XRP, Bitcoin. Yeah, pretty much the same situation. And one of the things I mentioned in my other videos a while back is that a lot of times you'll see XRP or you'll see Ethereum do these sort of moves first. So we saw in the leaks in the weeks leading up that XRP actually broke and had its crossovers before some of these other altcoins, and it tested the 200-day first and got rejected. Now it's coming down to the 50-day. So if you're looking at some of the smaller to mid-cap coins, then I would look to see what happens with XRP and see if it holds here. And if it does, that might be a good sign that support's going to be held on the 50 on those as well. Let's see. I wanted to check another one here. What was it? Yeah, it's the one I always forget about for no good reason, and that's a Litecoin. All right, and it is worse than all of them versus Bitcoin right now. Let's check its weekly chart. Yeah, it's about the same, although it does look like it might have a positive cross on the MACD. If you're trying to catch a bottom, this might not be a bad spot, considering the price line here goes back all the way back here, and it might be support. At least you're going to have to hope that's what it is. Stochastic RSI has been very low for a long time. It's probably not a bad time to start accumulating, in my opinion, on this one. I might actually start to buy some Litecoin as well, because it looks like it's been low for a long time. There's a potential crossover on the MACD. The smooth RSI seems to be all right. Once it changes direction and moves up, I'll be a little bit happier about it, but it does have some limited potential here if it stops out at one of those moving averages like the other altcoins have. I want to go ahead and get moving on. I don't want to be long on this video today, but check out my TradingView profile, and you can see some of the scripts we've used, like the smooth RSI and also this ribbon indicator. All of those scripts are available for anyone. You can see you've got a lot of likes on these, so people are using those and they enjoy it. I have a YouTube video series about how we developed those in PineScript, so if you want to take a look at that, that's even better. Subscribe to the channel and you'll get updates on those automatically. Now, one thing that happened last week was the ridiculous testimony or the grilling of Zuckerberg from the House committee, and that thing was a joke. There was only a handful of people that really understood what was going on, and you could tell. But I gotta say, Zuckerberg, the way he answered the questions were really good. I think he defended himself very well, and he defended blockchain and cryptocurrency very well. Honestly, I was kind of surprised by that. It seems like he has a very good understanding of what's going on, and the only reason that he is advocating for this private coin is he knows that the best way for Facebook to compete is with a private coin and not creating some decentralized thing, and even said so. But it was funny watching this, because you could see everyone who was grilling him was focused so much on trying to make him say something about Russia, or whatever committee they represented, and there was a lot of talk about minority leadership and stuff, and that stuff's great, but the whole meeting was supposed to be about Libra, from my understanding, and they didn't really care about that. They were just trying to push their agenda, but that's politics in general, I suppose. Speaking of politics, Chinese president, and a lot of people say this was the reason that Bitcoin pumped so much. He said that they should take the opportunity to adopt blockchain, and they even passed a law in order to try and seize the opportunity with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Now, I've seen some people on Twitter or other social media say that this isn't good for Bitcoin. This is China. They aren't going to favor an open and decentralized system like Bitcoin. Well, obviously, but when you're talking about on ramping people into the technology and getting that idea into their brain about blockchain and cryptocurrencies, then you'll notice that they'll start to think about Bitcoin, um, because it is decentralized, it is open, and it is freedom for them, a free form of money for them if they do decide to do that over there. And you'll notice, I don't have the chart in front of me right now, but I did see a chart on WeChat Trends. It was searches for blockchain and Bitcoin. Obviously, since this law was directly related to blockchain searches were really high. But unsurprisingly to most folks who believe that this can help Bitcoin, the Bitcoin searches did go up dramatically as well. It wasn't as much as blockchain because they probably don't like to use the word Bitcoin over there, but the fact that Bitcoin searches did surge so dramatically, probably a very good sign for its impact on Bitcoin in the future. Now, another thing to note is that Ethereum is targeting their mainnet activation for Istanbul, which is an upgrade to the Ethereum protocol. And one of the key things that you should take away is that the gas prices are going to increase due to the way they store data now. The methods are slightly different, so the storage costs are going to increase greatly, and that means some smart contracts are going to increase their costs greatly, and others may not work at all. I believe that's what it said. So if you're a smart contract developer, then you might want to pay attention to that. Other than that, I think that's about it for now. We do have the giveaway going on, and I can actually bring that over here. We have quite a few entries this time around. It's only got a few more days left. Oh my goodness, come over to this screen. There we go. We have 551 entries and still 4 days left. A lot of response to this one. I'm very glad. And hopefully this one turns out as well as the last one did when it's over with and we get a winner again. Now, the only other thing is like the video and subscribe. Just kidding. But I would appreciate that if you did that. You'll notice also the hat probably. I'm working on some other things and getting some e-commerce stuff set up. Not necessarily just for me, but I did want to test it out with my logo because I do like it. And I'm not necessarily one to wear this type of hat, but I kind of like it because it has my logo on it. But anyway, thanks everyone and have a good one.